Hey guys, it's Darwin here with my weekly Q&A to answer some more of your questions. If you want to ask a question for my next Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then my next Q&A, I'll answer your questions. Next week, I'll actually be postponing my Q&A because I'll be on the Continental Divide for about a week for a section, but go ahead and get your questions in. All right, so let's get started answering some of your questions. What are the best guidebooks to use for planning a Triple Crown thru-hike run? So, great question. One really good one for the AT is the AWOL guide. That's the book that Snuggles and I used both in 2015 and 2016 on the AT. And then another guide that people have been using is Guthook's apps. So Guthook has an app for the AT, the PCT, the CDT, the Arizona Trail, pretty much any long distance trail there's a Guthook app for, and it's nice because you don't have to carry a full book. You can carry it on your phone or a tablet or whatever electronic that you're going to be taking, and then you can see your elevation, you can see town resupplies, you can even see where you're at live GPS. So that's what I have switched to instead of an actual book, but there's a lot of other really good books out there, but I would suggest checking out the Guthook apps. All right, so this next question kind of coincides with the last one, and it says, I was wondering if you and Darwin used a PCT planner like Craig's or Postholer. How did you determine your daily/weekly mileage goals to complete the trail on schedule? Lastly, are tarps popular on the PCT, or do most thru-hikers use tents? So I would assume that you think that I've already hiked the PCT, which I haven't. I'm planning my PCT hike for 2018, just like you. However, when I was on the AT, we actually used, kind of like I just explained, we used AWOL's guide, and then for the Arizona Trail, I used Guthook's app. So there are a lot of ways to kind of plan your thru-hike, but again, I think that the best one to look at would be Guthook's app. It's what I used on the Arizona Trail in October, and it's what I'm going to be using on my section hike of the Continental Divide Trail. And I'll also be using it for my PCT thru-hike in 2018. So definitely check out Guthook's app. As far as tarps versus tents on the PCT, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that tarps tend to be a little bit more popular. They're definitely more popular than hammocks, which hammocks you're going to see a lot on the Appalachian Trail. Not so much on the PCT and the CDT, just because there's huge desert sections where you can't really use trees to hammock. So tarps tend to be the easier solution and lightweight. It just kind of depends on your comfort level and what you actually like sleeping in. I've been kind of experimenting with just some tarps, but for now on the CDT, I'll be taking my 6 Moons Design Skyscape Trekker, and then for the PCT, I'm actually looking into a Z-Pax Altiplex tent, which is super light. It's about as light as a tarp, but it is a full enclosed tent with a fly and a net and a bathtub. So it's really, it's a personal preference thing. And as far as I know, it seems like most people use a tarp, but it's at your discretion. I'm starting a thru-hike in February 2018. Can you please comment on compiling, editing, preparing videos for YouTube? So number one, good luck on planning for your thru-hike. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Number two, I'm assuming that you watched my video where I talked about recording your thru-hike, and if you haven't, I'll put the link up here in the corner, whichever corner it is, and that is a link to the video where I talk about if you should or if you shouldn't record your thru-hike, and obviously you have decided to. As far as compiling and editing and stuff for YouTube, I can tell you it's a lot of work. I'm going to do a video in the future where I actually talk about kind of my weekly routine and how I make these videos, how I edit them, what I use, my camera equipment, all of that. So keep an eye out for that. Until then, I can tell you it is a lot of work, but totally worth it. There's some apps you can get for your phone for editing. In 2016, I used iMovie for my iPhone. I was actually able to transfer footage from my GoPro to my iPhone via Bluetooth and then edit everything on iMovie and then upload it to YouTube that way. It's a lot of work, but if you're willing to do it, it definitely pays off because you can get some really good footage and kind of, you know, share that with everybody, especially friends back home, family, and then if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, that's also great media for that. So keep an eye out for that new video that I'm going to do talking about kind of my steps and my process of how I record videos.
Hi, Darwin on the trail. I had a video question for you. I'm a huge fan. I've seen most all your videos, so I think this question is really important. I was wondering if having a beard makes you hike faster. As you can see, I kind of look like I'm 12 years old. So I've been thinking about growing out my beard for this upcoming hike, and I just wondered if that would affect my performance in any way. So, yeah. Thanks for answering the question. Hike on, and God bless.
Yes. Any comments on these items to bring or leave at home for a through hike? Baby powder, baby wipes, pen and notepad, sleeping bag liner, and bibit bottle. So number one, I would say baby powder. I didn't carry it. I didn't see a lot of people carrying it. I did see some people carrying Gold Bond. So if you have kind of sweaty feet and you have some feet problems, maybe bring some baby powder, maybe bring some Gold Bond. That's kind of up to you. I did see a lot of that stuff in hiker boxes where hikers would bring that out with them. So they typically just kind of ditched it when they realized that they didn't need it. Baby wipes are actually really great to have. So Snuggles carried baby wipes in 2015 and 2016 on the AT. And she pretty much carried them so she could kind of wash her hands, wipe down, wipe the sweat. Because whenever you get into those really hot, sticky, humid months on your through hike, you kind of appreciate being able to wipe yourself down and kind of get the grime and the grit off. Another great thing is they're nice to have after you take a dump in the woods. You know, being able to clean yourself up so you don't have some poop particles kind of hanging out in there. Since it's gonna be kind of a while till you take a shower again, it's nice to have those to kind of clean your ass out. So I would say definitely bring baby wipes. Pen and notepad, that really kind of depends on how much you plan on riding. I did bring a pen and notepad with me on the AT in 2015. I never wrote in it. Snuggles, on the other hand, did keep a daily diary. She's a lot better than that than I am, but I brought one and I didn't really use it. So it just kind of depends on how much a rider you are and how much you actually plan on noting down. Some people do, and it's great to have. That's kind of your own personal preference, really. A sleeping bag liner might be pretty good to carry for the first few hundred miles until you get to about Damascus, Virginia, and then maybe send it home, because after that it'll start getting warm. As far as carrying a sleeping bag liner through the Smokies and stuff, it obviously depends on the temperature rating of your sleeping bag. I've seen a lot of people that were carrying like 20 or 30 degree bags, and then they would carry a sleeping bag liner to make it a warmer bag in those first like month and a half. And then when they got to Damascus, when it started warming up, they would send it home instead of swapping out sleeping bags. So a sleeping bag liner might be a good idea. Just kind of decide what type of gear that you want to carry and what type of sleeping bag that you're going to have. As far as a bidet bottle or bidit bottle, or I don't really know what that is. So, you know, if you're into that, yeah, bring it. I don't know what that is. What did you do with your pack when you were resupplying? If we knew it was a small town and a little bitty grocery store, sometimes we would leave our packs right outside of the store, and we never had a problem with it. I've heard stories of through hikers having their packs and their gear stolen. I didn't personally know anybody that happened to in 15 or 16, but it has happened. And a lot of other times we would actually just take our packs in with us, especially if it was a bigger box store. Like if we were resupplying at a huge supermarket or a Walmart, I would either carry my pack on my back, or Snuggles and I would take 2 shopping carts, and we would put our packs in one shopping cart and put all of our food in another shopping cart. So that's something you can do too, and it kind of depends on the store and if they're okay with you bringing your pack in. But I think most places on the AT, you're pretty safe about leaving your pack outside. Just kind of weigh your options in the situation you're in. If it's a super populated, busy area, or if you're in a bigger city on the AT, you might want to carry it with you. If you're in a small town like Damascus or Hot Springs, chances are you're pretty good. The only people that would steal your pack that's going to be around is going to be another hiker, and they don't want your stuff. They don't want to carry your stuff, so you should be good. Again, just kind of use your better judgment and decide if you want to take it in or leave it outside. Okay, and the last question for the day is kind of a big one. I have had a few miserable nights on the trail due to poor site choice. both in damp valley, up on a ridge with storms, wind, and colder temperatures. Can you discuss your experience with site selection on the southern AT and whether you stayed close to shelters, designated campgrounds, or more stealth camping? Did you create any guidelines as to where you stayed and why? So, great question. A lot of times we would actually kind of camp right outside of a shelter or right before a shelter, or hit stealth spots. As far as camping on ridge lines, I never camp on ridge lines. And kind of the same reason, I've been in some really bad weather on ridge lines, both in wind and rain and cold, so I know not to camp on ridge lines. As far as down in valleys and stuff, never really had a problem. And as far as getting wet and it being cold and stuff, it's kind of inevitable. It's kind of unavoidable. If you're out hiking the AT, especially the southern AT, in spring, it's raining a lot, so you're going to get wet, you're going to get cold, it's going to be windy. It kind of doesn't matter where you're staying at, whether you're staying at a shelter or whether you're staying at a stealth spot. If I knew that it was kind of a cloudy day and we were going to stay at a stealth spot, I would try to kind of put the tent under some trees to get a little bit more coverage from the rain. But even then, trees get wet and that kind of just continues to rain on you. So as far as site selection, just use your judgment. But most of the times we would camp kind of close to a shelter, or if it was a really packed shelter, we would kind of find a stealth spot. But I would never ever camp on a ridge line, just because, again, I've been stuck in those same situations. Alright guys, so next week I'll be doing a section of the Continental Divide Trail, so I won't be doing a Q&A, but I'll pick it back up the following week when I get back. So go ahead and leave me some more questions. Again, you can either leave them in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then I'll answer as many of those as I can when I get back from the CDT. If you haven't got a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of new photos lately, and then I'm going to try to post a photo a day when I'm on the CDT for a week. So definitely go check me out on there and make sure you're following to see all of those photos. Go ahead and like or dislike this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.